In this cyber safety lesson, we will explore mobile device physical security. Our lesson objectives are to explain why physical security is such a big deal when it comes to protecting sensitive data on mobile devices. We will see how just locking your phone isn't always enough. If someone gets a hold of your device, they might still find ways to get to your information. We'll go over the common physical threats you should watch out for, like theft, loss, or someone snooping while you're using your phone in public. Then we will look at different ways you can physically protect your device, from simple things like keeping it in a secure place to more advanced solutions like using lockable storage or enclosures. This lesson will also cover how to use your mobile device's built-in security features, like setting strong screen locks or enabling remote wipe. Plus, we'll cover best practices for handling your phone safely, whether you're out and about or storing it at work. By the end, you will understand how all of these pieces come together to form a solid physical security plan, one that works whether you're protecting your personal device or managing mobile security for a whole team or organization. Before starting this lesson, let's pause for just a second to give you time to think about how much you already know about mobile device physical security. Remember, there's no wrong answer here. Let's start by talking about why physical security of mobile devices is so important. Our phones are basically little vaults of personal information. They hold way more sensitive data than most people even realize. For starters, they store personal information like your name, your birthday, address, phone numbers, even things like your social security number if you've ever scanned your ID or filled out a form. Then there's all of your login stuff, passwords, PINs, and even biometrics like your fingerprint or face. Most people also have some kind of financial data on their phone, whether it's through a banking app or mobile wallets like Apple or Google Pay. Phones also constantly track where you are. Between GPS, your location history, and geotag photos, there's a detailed map of your movement stored right on the device. And don't forget your communication history. Texts, call logs, emails, voice messages, basically everything you've said or written. Plus, there's tons of media, personal photos, videos, audio recordings, and scanned documents. Some phones even store health-related data like your heart rate, steps, sleep patterns, maybe even medical appointments or diet tracking. And when it comes to apps, you've got social media activity, notes, reminders, and even your shopping habits. Finally, every time you browse the web or open an app, your phone is collecting data on what you're doing, your search history, cookies, and usage patterns. Altogether, it paints a pretty detailed picture of your life. So keeping your phone secure isn't just a tech thing, it's a privacy thing. There's a lot at stake. Physical security for mobile devices is often overlooked, but it's actually a really important part of keeping your data safe. We usually think about things like passwords, encryption, and antivirus software, but all of that can be undermined if someone physically gets their hands on your device. For example, if a phone is stolen or left unattended, someone could try to break into it, extract data through USB ports, or even tamper with the hardware. Physical security, like keeping your device with you, locking it in a drawer at work, or using screen locks and biometrics, helps prevent that kind of access. It also gives other security tools like remote wipe or device tracking a chance to work. So really, physical security supports all the digital protections we rely on. It's the first basic line of defense that makes everything else more effective. Let's look at some real-world examples of common threats to physical security, starting with theft. What if you're at a coffee shop and step away to grab a napkin and leave your phone on the table? This is the kind of thing that we all do from time to time. In just a few seconds, someone could take your phone and walk right out. Now, not only is your device gone, but if it wasn't locked or encrypted, the person who took it can access your emails, photos, banking apps, or even sensitive work documents. What about an example of accidental loss? Let's say you're rushing through airport security, juggling your bags, and you accidentally leave your phone in the bin. This is another example of something that's very easy to do. You might not realize that your phone is missing until you're halfway to your gate. By the time you go back, it's gone. Even if you have a lock screen, it's possible that the person who took your phone could bypass it or use recovery tools if they're skilled or persistent enough. How about an example of unauthorized access? You leave your phone unattended on a cafe table while you go to the restroom. In just that short period of time, someone nearby can pick up your phone and quickly access it because you've left it unlocked. They then might email themselves several confidential work documents stored in the email app. By the time you return to the table and realize that something is off, the attacker is gone, and so is the sensitive data. And one final example, and this one deals with environmental hazards. Let's say you leave your phone in your car on a hot summer day and the heat damages the battery and the screen, rendering it unusable. Or worse, what if you're on a hike and drop it in the water? If you don't have your data backed up, you risk losing important information permanently. And in a business environment, devices damaged in floods, fires, or power surges can disrupt operations of the business and lead to data loss if the devices are not properly protected. Let's switch gears and talk about some smart ways to physically secure your mobile devices. Because it's more than just about protecting the device itself, it's about protecting everything that's on it when you think about it. First, you should use physical locks and enclosures whenever possible. Things like cable locks for laptops or biometric safes, and we'll talk more about these options a little later. Second, store your devices in secure, restricted access locations when they're not being used. That means things like lockable drawers or office safes, anywhere where the devices can't easily be accessed by just anyone. Next, if you're on the move, always keep your devices on you. Whether you're commuting, grabbing lunch, or traveling, don't leave your phone, tablet, or laptop sitting out unattended. It only takes a second for someone to snatch it. And finally, turn on Find My Device or GPS tracking. These features don't just help you find lost devices, they can help you remotely lock or erase devices if they're stolen. This graphic shows a couple of everyday, very simple mobile security habits that are all obvious, but sometimes we get busy and forget these things. The first one is to make sure to keep your phone or other mobile device in a secured, zipped location. What do we all do with our cell phone? We put it in the back pocket of our pants, right? If you're traveling or in a busy location, that is not very secure. It's easy for somebody to come up from behind you and take your phone. You want to make sure that you set up remote wipe so that if your device is lost or stolen, you can easily erase the data from it without having the device on you. When you're in public places, you want to remain alert. We've already mentioned if you're in a restaurant or in an airport, don't put your device down and walk away from it, not even for a second. And then you also want to pause periodically and just check that you still have your belongings, particularly if you're traveling and you're moving from one place to another before you get off of an airplane or before you leave a hotel room or before you leave a restaurant. You just want to check your bag or your person and make sure that you still have all of your mobile devices on you. As we learn about mobile device physical security, it's important to stop and look at a couple of real-world incidents. The first one that we're going to look at is from back in 2006, and it involved U.S. Veterans Affairs. There was a data breach as a result of a physical theft. So what happened? Well, both a laptop and an external hard drive were stolen from the home of a Veterans Affairs employee. And the devices that were stolen contained the personal data that was unencrypted of about 26.5 million veterans and active duty military personnel. So what was the impact of this breach? Well, at the time that it occurred, it was one of the largest breaches in the United States, and it triggered nationwide concern over mobile data security. The Veterans Affairs, as you might imagine, faced lawsuits, and they ultimately had to end up paying settlements in the millions of dollars. Ultimately, the laptop was recovered, and the FBI stated that it was not likely that the data had been accessed, but obviously at that point it was too late. The damage had already been done. There are several smart storage solutions that we can use for our mobile devices, and we're going to look at three. We're going to look at smart lockers, biometric safes, and portable storage solutions. Smart lockers are a great option for securing mobile devices in shared or professional environments like schools, hospitals, or offices. One of the key features they offer is RFID and PIN-based authentication, which means that only authorized users can access the locker bays. This adds a solid layer of security right from the start. They also provide real-time monitoring, so you can actually track which devices are stored, who's using them, and when. This is especially helpful for managing shared equipment or keeping an eye on usage patterns. Plus, you get an audit trail or a digital log that records every check-in and check-out, and that's great for accountability. Smart lockers are flexible too. Users can either be assigned a specific bay or the system can just assign them any open bay when needed. And some models even go a step further. You can program them to only allow access during a user's scheduled shift. Now, if you're looking to install these in your organization, make sure you're choosing a reputable model that meets modern security standards. Some even offer fire resistance, but keep in mind, they usually don't match the full protection of a traditional fireproof safe. So while smart lockers aren't indestructible, they're a huge step up from just leaving devices laying out in the open. Biometric safes are a great option when you want serious protection for your mobile devices. First off, they use biometric locks, usually fingerprint recognition, so only authorized users can open them. This adds a strong layer of security without the hassle of remembering combinations or carrying around keys. Many of these safes are fireproof and waterproof, which means your devices are protected not just from theft, but from environmental hazards too, like fires, floods, or accidental spills. Biometric safes also come in all shapes, sizes, and price points. If you're just looking to secure something small like a phone or a portable drive, a compact safe will probably do the trick, and these can cost around $100. Just keep in mind that the lower cost options usually have limited protection when it comes to fire and water damage. On the other end of the spectrum, there are large capacity safes. Think reinforced steel, top-tier security, and much better fire and water resistance. These are typically $1,500 or more and are better suited for business environments or for anyone storing multiple high-value devices. When you're on the move, having the right portable storage for your mobile device can make a big difference, not just for convenience, but for security too. Let's start with some of the built-in features that you'll find in higher-end bags and cases. Many of these include RFID blocking technology, which helps protect your credit cards and wireless devices from digital pickpocketing. There are also slash guard straps designed to resist knife cuts. This is perfect for preventing grab-and-go thefts. Some bags even have zipper lockdown points and locking mechanisms, so someone can't just unzip your bag and grab your device. And if you're worried about the elements, look for rugged materials for drop protection and watertight designs to keep your devices safe from rain or spills. As far as options, you've got a few choices. If you're heading into more extreme environments like on a flight, a construction site, or on a rugged hike, a hardshell case is probably your best bet. These are built to withstand bumps, drops, and unpredictable weather. In addition to these secure storage solutions, you can also use things like cable locks to help protect laptops. A laptop cable lock is kind of like a bike lock, but just for your computer. You attach one end to a special security slot on the laptop, and the other end wraps around something heavy like a desk or table. These are a super simple, low-tech way to keep your laptop from walking off when you're not looking. Now we're going to take a brief look at some of the physical security features that are built in to the operating systems of mobile devices, and we're going to start with iOS. So for iPhone and iPad users, you should enable Face ID or Touch ID, and that will depend on the model that you are using. You should also set an auto lock timer so that after a certain period of inactivity, your device will lock itself and it will then have to be unlocked again using either the Face or Touch ID. And you should enable the Find My feature so that if your device is misplaced, you're able to locate it easily. Mobile devices running Android also offer physical security features. You'll see biometric authentication and Find My Device options on Android, just like you would on iOS. In the latest version of Android, there are new features that are helpful. One is a theft detection lock, and this feature uses AI and motion sensors that can help recognize if someone grabs your phone, snatches it from your hand, and runs away with it. This feature will automatically lock your screen to prevent unauthorized access. The latest version of Android also allows you to set up a private space on your phone. You can really think about this as being like a phone within a phone. It lets you set up a separate secured area where you can password apps and data in that area to keep it separate from the rest of your phone for added security. Lastly, let's look at a couple of the options that are available for physical security on Windows 11. You can certainly set up a biometric sign-in using either face or fingerprint recognition or using a PIN. You can enable a dynamic lock so that the device will lock itself after a certain period of inactivity. Think about it. If you have a laptop or a tablet that you use in an office and you step away from your desk for an hour to go to lunch, you don't want your device to remain available during that time. So you can set it so that after 2 minutes, for example, of inactivity, the device will lock itself until you sign back in. Windows 11 allows you to enable Find My Device. And then lastly, you can enable encryption by using BitLocker device encryption. Now let's take a look at another real-world incident that was the result of a physical theft of a mobile device. So in late 2023, a city official in Paris had their bag stolen while they were on the train, and unfortunately the bag contained not only a laptop but also a couple of USB drives. These devices were loaded with some top secret security plans for the upcoming 2024 Paris Olympics and included some details on key locations and security strategies involving over 35,000 security personnel members. This was a big deal, especially since some of the locations that were included in the information had already been targeted in past terrorist attacks in Paris in 2015. This breach sparked some serious concern and ultimately led to a full investigation. Thankfully, the authorities were able to respond quickly and the Olympics went off without a hitch. There were no incidents. But this is another strong reminder of how just a single stolen device can create a huge national security risk. It's one thing to use mobile devices in an office or other professional setting, but we often use our mobile devices in public. And there are some issues that we need to be aware of. The first one is theft and unauthorized access, which we've already talked about. All it takes is just a quick minute of distraction and suddenly your device is gone. If it's not locked down with a strong password or biometrics, then whoever has it can get access to everything that is on your device, and that's certainly very scary. The next thing you need to be aware of is shoulder surfing, and this is when someone nearby is literally watching over your shoulder while you type passwords. You might be reading private messages or even checking your banking information. And this happens more often than you might think, especially in places like airports or on buses, or even in lines somewhere like the coffee shop. And then there's juice jacking. That's when you plug into a public USB charging station. We all start to get a little nervous when our battery runs low and we're kind of frantic to charge our phone. So lots of places like malls or airports do have these public charging stations, but they can contain hidden malware that is loaded onto your phone through the port when your phone is connected. So you want to be very wary of using these. It's a sneaky trick and most people don't even know that it's possible. Speaking of using our mobile devices in public places, we very often have access to free public Wi-Fi when we are out and about. And while using public Wi Fi can be super convenient, it also opens a door to some serious risk if we're not careful. There are some simple tips that we need to keep in mind. And the first one is to watch out for fake or rogue hotspots. Just because you see a network that says free airport Wi Fi, that does not mean that it's legitimate. Hackers are able to easily set up fake networks that can lure you in and steal your data. Second, if you have to use public Wi Fi, make sure you use a VPN or a virtual private network. It encrypts your internet traffic and it's kind of like putting your data in a lockbox so that no one can peek inside. Also, you should stick to websites that start with HTTPS. That little S at the end means that the site is secure. And while you're at it, avoid logging into sites that collect personal information. Something like your bank or healthcare accounts, I recommend that you not access those using free public Wi Fi. Also, take a minute to tighten your device's security settings. You want to make sure that firewalls are on, your software is up to date, and any automatic sharing is turned off. And finally, be sure to log out of websites when you're done. Staying logged in can leave a door open for someone to sneak into later. When it comes to protecting your phone or tablet, having a personal mobile device security plan isn't just a good idea, it's really essential. So let's break down the basics. First, secure storage. When you're not using your device, don't just leave it lying around. Keep it in a locked drawer, a secure bag, or even a biometric safe if you have one. Out of sight, out of risk. Next, it's all about your awareness and habits. Be alert when you're in public. Don't leave your phone on a cafe table or at the gym. It only takes a second for someone to swipe it. Then there's device configuration. This just means making sure your security settings are doing their job. Use a screen lock, turn on biometric authentication, and enable tracking features so you can locate or wipe your device remotely if it goes missing. And finally, don't overlook accessories. Tools like physical locks or anti-theft cables can add another layer of protection, especially for laptops or tablets being used in public spaces. When it comes to securing mobile devices at work, a strong plan can make all the difference, and it's more than just locking up phones. Let's break down what it looks like in a workplace setting. First, you need solid asset management and inventory control. This means keeping track of every company-owned device, who has it, where it is, and what it is being used for. Asset tags and tracking software can really help here. Next is device access policies. It's important to clearly define who's allowed to use which devices and under what circumstances. Not every employee needs access to every device or system. Then there's secure storage facilities. Offices should have lockable cabinets, biometric safes, or smart lockers to keep devices safe when they're not in use, especially overnight or during shift changes. And finally, none of this works without employee training. People need to know how to handle devices securely, what to do while traveling, and how to respond if something goes missing. That's where a solid incident response plan comes in. So if a device is lost or stolen, everyone knows how to report it, lock it, locate it, or wipe it remotely if needed. And finally, let's circle back to some of the real-world incidents that we looked at and talk about lessons that have been learned from these incidents. The first one is that encryption is non-negotiable. Devices should be fully encrypted by default, and many breaches have occurred because sensitive data was stored in unencrypted forms on stolen laptops, phones, or USB drives. Next, physical security is as important as digital security. Devices must be kept secure in public spaces, on your person, in locked bags, or in safes. Mobile device management should be used. It can help organizations to remotely wipe stolen devices, lock access, and track location. Regular backups and data separation. Data stored only on the device is vulnerable. Regular cloud backups and separating sensitive data from everyday use reduces exposure. Human behavior is a main security factor. Employees must be trained on mobile security awareness. Many breaches have stemmed from carelessness, leaving a device unattended, skipping password protection, or storing sensitive data locally. And finally, organizations and individuals must have a clear incident response plan. In the event of a theft, you need to know who to notify, what systems to lock, and how to report a breach. Quick response can dramatically reduce the damage that is done. Now that you've reached the end of the lesson, let's pause again to give you time to think about how much you now know about mobile device physical security. Congratulations, you have now completed this cyber safety lesson brought to you by the Nighthawk Cyber Alliance.